Good evening. Very serious news to bring you tonight. Hollywood director Christopher Nolan, most famous for his 1998 hit film Following, stirred controversy with some of the creative choices he made in his latest film, an adaptation of Homer's The Odyssey. Most shockingly, according to literary critics, Nolan introduced the idea of a Trojan horse rather than the historically accurate Trojan rabbit. One frustrated literature professor voiced the common complaint.
As a philologist and a classicist, I must protest. Christopher Nolan, how do you get the most famous part of the story wrong? The famous Trojan rabbit is now a horse?
Moviegoers also weighed in on the perceived inaccuracy.
Everyone knows that rabbits throughout all of human history have been among the most prized possessions, gifts for nobles even. I don't know why they put a wooden horse in this movie. It just doesn't make any sense.
Even school children know the difference. It's basic biology. Basic biology, Nolan!
I thought the Cyclops was cool.
Nolan defended his creative choices, saying he viewed the story through a modern lens. Modern people do measure vehicles in terms of horsepower, after all, and not in rabbit power. Rabbit power went out of style with the collapse of the Bronze Age. Stay tuned for more on the fallout of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey with around-the-clock 24/7 coverage so you won't miss any of the breaking news. Coming up next after the break, conservative commentator Matt Walsh also criticized director Christopher Nolan for failing to cast any actual Greek demigods in The Odyssey. You know, there's a lot of news bias out there, but you can weed out the bias by using Ground News. It's a website and app that gathers and compares news from around the world and from across the entire political spectrum, so you can see through the baloney. Personally, I like to know the bias of an article and the ownership of the source before I even read it, and that's exactly the kind of context Ground News gives you. Take a look at this story on Greece, awaiting Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey with anticipation amidst the casting controversy. Ground News shows that over 38 sources have reported on this story, with 20% of the reporting coming from right-leaning outlets and 24% from left-leaning outlets. Most of the reporting comes from sources owned by media conglomerates, but nearly a quarter comes from independent media, like us. When comparing headlines, we can see the right emphasized how split Greeks are over the film, following objections to the lack of Greek actors cast and the roughly €6 million in government subsidies the film was given. Meanwhile, the left highlighted Greece's culture minister rebutting the accusations, defending artistic expression. Both sides, including The Bee, have reported that The Odyssey has already broken box office records and is Nolan's biggest global opening ever. If you want the full picture, instead of just one side of it, Ground News makes it easy. They're giving our viewers 40% off their unlimited access Vantage plan, which you can get by scanning the QR code or going to ground.news/Babylon and subscribing today. The link is in the description.